What would happen if there were only women in the world? Imagine a world in which only women exist. This is a radical concept that affects many aspects of life: socio-cultural, economic, political, and even biological. In this scenario, we can consider how life on the planet would change if there were no men in it. Social structure first of all. It is worth noting that a society with an exclusively female population would undergo significant changes in its social structure. Without men, new forms of interaction and cooperation would arise. Women could create more inclusive and equal societies where the emphasis would be on cooperation, support, and mutual assistance. Most likely, the traditional roles would also change. Women who previously occupied the roles of housewives or were limited in their abilities due to gender stereotypes would have more freedom to express themselves and realize their ambitions. Education would become more accessible, and an emphasis on STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics could lead to significant advances in these fields. Political sphere. The political system would also undergo changes. Women leaders could create more peaceful and stable societies. Research shows that countries with a large number of women in leadership positions often show higher rates of peace and stability. In such a world, the focus on social programs, healthcare, and education could become a priority. Instead of traditional conflicts and wars, women could focus on diplomacy and negotiation. This could lead to a more peaceful coexistence both within and between countries. Economy. The economic structure would also undergo changes. Without men as the main participants in the labor market, women could occupy all key positions in business and industry. This could lead to the creation of new business models and innovative approaches to doing business. Women often demonstrate a high level of empathy and cooperation, which can contribute to the creation of more sustainable and ethical companies. In addition, it is possible that women would become more actively involved in entrepreneurship. This could lead to the creation of many startups and small businesses, which in turn would contribute to economic growth. Culture and art. Cultural life would also undergo significant changes. Art, literature, and music could reflect the unique experiences of women without being influenced by the male perspective. This could lead to the emergence of new genres and styles that would be more intuitive and emotional. Films, books, and other art forms could focus on women's experiences, exploring themes of motherhood, friendship, struggle for rights, and self-expression. This could enrich the cultural heritage of mankind. Scientific achievements. Scientific research could also get a new boost. Women scientists would be able to focus on women's health, ecology, and other important topics. Without traditional gender biases, significant discoveries in the fields of medicine, biology, and psychology could have been made in science. Family and parenting. In a world without men, in a world where only women exist, the family structure and approach to parenting would undergo significant changes. Let's look at several key aspects that could form a new paradigm of family life and upbringing. 1. Family structure. In the absence of men, the traditional nuclear family, consisting of parents and children, could transform into more diverse forms. The following options are possible. Communal families. Women could form groups to live together and raise children. Such communal families would provide support and assistance to each other, creating a more sustainable environment for children's growth. Families with multiple mothers. In some cases, several women could come together to raise children together, each of whom would contribute to care and education. This could help create a more diverse and supportive environment for children. Alternative forms of parenthood. Women could take on the roles of guardians or mentors for children who are not their biological children. This could lead to a broader network of support and care for children. 2. Parenting. Parenting in such a society could be based on the principles of cooperation, empathy, and respect for each child's individuality. Let's look at several aspects of parenting. Focus on emotional intelligence. Parenting could focus on developing emotional intelligence, which would include teaching children to recognize and manage their emotions, as well as understand the feelings of others. This could create a more sensitive and understanding generation. Education and development. Educational programs could focus on developing critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration skills. Women, as teachers and mentors, could introduce more inclusive teaching methods that take into account different styles of information perception. Partnership with nature. Education could include an emphasis on respect for nature and ecology. Children could learn to take care of the environment, realizing the importance of sustainable development and protecting the planet. 3. Social connections and support in such a society. Social connections would play a key role in raising children. Building support networks. Women could form communities where they support each other in parenting issues. This could include sharing experiences, helping with child care, and organizing joint events. Participation of the older generation. Grandmothers and other older women could actively participate in children's lives by sharing their knowledge and experience. This could help to create strong bonds between generations. 4. Identity development. Parenting in a world without men could lead to the formation of a new identity for children. Self-awareness. Children could grow up with an awareness of their worth and individuality, which would contribute to the development of self-confidence. A variety of roles. Children could see many examples of strong women in different roles, from scientists to artists, which would inspire them to achieve their own goals. 5. Problems and challenges. Despite the positive aspects, such a scenario could also face some problems. Lack of diversity. Without a man's view of the world, there may be limitations in the perception of certain issues or problems. This highlights the importance of diversity of opinions and approaches. Stress and workload. Women who take responsibility for parenting may be stressed by the workload. The need for support and assistance from society is becoming especially urgent. In a world without men, the family structure and approach to parenting would undergo significant changes. The focus would be on cooperation, empathy, and respect for each child's individuality. Although such a scenario may offer new opportunities for the development of society, it is also important to take into account the possible challenges and difficulties that women may face as mothers and caregivers. Environmental changes. Women are often more sensitive to environmental and sustainable development issues. Without men as the main consumers of resources, one would expect a more responsible approach to the use of natural resources. Perhaps women would become more actively involved in environmental protection and sustainable development. Conclusion. In a world without men, there would be many changes in all areas of life. Social structures would change, politics would become more peaceful, the economy more ethical, and culture more diverse. However, it is important to remember that such a society is not ideal. It would also face new challenges. The scenario of a world without men is not a call for gender separation, or a statement that one gender is better than the other. Rather, it is an opportunity to reflect on how different perspectives can enrich our society and how important it is to strive for equality and respect for all. Like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new interesting videos.